What's up, guys? It's your boy GRC. This is Crypto in the Morning. How is everyone doing? Let's get to the comments real quick, guys. Bing bong. What's up, Paul Sachs? Vets in Crypto, Gravitation, good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? Chiro. It's time to read the manifesto. Be smart. Don't be stupid. I've already read the manifesto, Mr. Chiro. It's not, it's pretty cool, but it's not gonna Leonid Volkov, cult. We got some cult fans in the house. Biceps for the cult fans. Biceps for me for twerking last night all over everyone's face. Reality, facing reality. T-Bird, what's up, GRC? Bob Lagai. Good morning. How you doing, bro? B-Made Captain, good to see you. Lots of cult guys in here. Let's get ready for the Rumble. I don't know about a Rumble. You know me, I like to rumble with people, but when we're just talking about information, Sam's going to have a lot on this one, because I want to get technical with him about this, because the thing that's different about cult, a little bit different at least, is that there's some DeFi nerd appeal. Sam, isn't there a little DeFi nerd appeal? It could just be me. I just could think I know the decentralization thing is cool to some people, but is it really cool to people? Do they really care? Sam, I don't know. Do they care? Would you care, Sam, if your shit was going to the moon? Would you care if Mr. Elon had your bags 40%? No, you would not. I just don't think so. But again, guys, we're moving into another realm of technology. We're going to be as non-biased as possible in a sea full of people that are getting paid to do things, that have other biases in their life. Me and Sam are going to try our best to kind of keep it as casual as possible, because we are new-ish to the crypto space, but we're not new-ish to the taking bodies space. So guys, here's the Crypto in the Morning song. Shout out to DeFi Proof. Biceps in the chat for DeFi Proof, guys. We're going to be watching a little bit of a video of IMB Roots going through the reasons he's bullish on Colt. Me and Sam are going to talk a little bit. And then we have a special guest, a founder, Sam, just in the comments, just found bullish, hit his DMs, producer bullish. Guys, this might be a banger. I'm feeling electric. Sam's locked in like a laser. I don't even know what's going through his mind. He's like a fucking nuke right now. I don't even want to get in his way. Guys, this is going to be crazy. Guys, we're blowing up here at Crypto in the Morning. Me and Sam are streaming all the time. Numbers are going up. We're loving it. Bear market. We love it. Okay? We love it. Guys, let's.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stay. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
What's up, bro? It is good to see you. It's good to be here. I'm excited. It's a beautiful day out today. Just got back from the gym. Let's see some of those guns. It was arm day today. I'm always excited to talk to people in crypto who have more knowledge, more experience, and different points of view than I do, because there's a space that is evolving at warp speed. We have crypto, which has gone from zero in 2009 to 2022, where it's over $1 trillion. Tesla, 2009, virtually zero. to only like 800 billion. Crypto space is growing at a ridiculous pace. And there's a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of stuff to pay attention to, and a lot of stuff to learn. So I'm excited. We're going to be talking some cult today. We're going to be talking to somebody who's actually on the team for the cult team. Super interesting. Love to learn more about the locked liquidity. You guys know what that means? I don't know what it means. I'm curious to know what that means. Also, we got some 5 different points that we're going to get into on why. I don't remember the guy's name. Actually,
his name is Moon King BROOTS. Sam's not as crypto Twitter savvy yet, although he's getting there at a fast pace. I am BROOTS. He is the Moon King. He is proclaimed altcoin champion.
Oh.
So he says that he has the best calls in altcoin history or whatever. And, you know, it's all, guys, can I be clear for a second? Let me cut to the chase. Me and Sam are grown-ass men. We go to the gym, we go home, we put our glasses on, and we read a lot. And we eat macronutrient dense diets. Okay. And I like to joke around, maybe dance a little bit, pull funny memes. But when I'm doing my work, it's not really funny time for me. I'm not a comedian personally, although you could think I'm funny. This is all about research to me. This is about finding the truth to me. It doesn't matter what everyone else says. Like, I don't care. I want to find the truth of what's going on. I don't care who's getting paid to do what, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's making a living out here, okay? That's fine. But people are also lying to other people, and then, you know, that's not good or whatever. So we don't like the lying, but like, again, business is business, but we're going to cut to the chase with the information we have, but we cut right to the founders. So, you know, that's the good part here. And so let's pull up the point. Now, so we have BROOTS here. I think it's time, 11:11. Let's pull up his first point. Cult DAO, guys. If you haven't heard of it, me and Sam and Bullish, producer Bullish, have not invested. Maybe Bullish has, so I can't necessarily 100% say that.
I have already, for everyone's clear. I have.
Okay, cool. So
I have all of 0 cult, and GRC has all of 0 cult. Just so everybody
knows. If you want to send me all your cult, hit me up.
If you check the links in the description for my channel or GFC's channel, there's plenty of ways for you guys to support it.
And we'll join the cult DAO team. Give me all the tokens that are in the vault. Okay, so guys, first of all, if you don't know cult, let me give you the little kind of gist of it. It's a decentralized DAO. What do you call it, Sam? It's like a DAO is the way is the word verbiage, but for people that don't know that,
it's a decentralized autonomous organization, which is like you're basically breaking down the hierarchy structure of a traditional company and trying to create a purpose, a mission, a vision for something, and have it run by the community. Instead of it being run by, Tim Cook or Elon Musk, right? You have it run by the community.
Is it fair to say that there's pros and cons to both, Sam?
1,000%.
So guys, listen to me before you say stupid stuff to yourself. There's pros and cons to both. I'm sure the cult DAO people would say that. RH himself would say that. You have to do at some point you have to make a plan, right? And when you make a plan, there's positive and negative externalities always, but you're using your brain to pick what you think is the best. And in this case, they think having a completely decentralized autonomous voting system, like we've seen others do before, is the best way, but they're doing it in a way where it's truly decentralized as far as like the way the liquidity is and everything as we went.
So you've got a couple things. So you've got like the liquidity that's locked up, right? Because I did a deep dive video, should be out later today.
And you did a cult DAO one too. I can post.
I did call DAO one. If you want to pull it up on your channel, that'd be dope and drop it. But Arvarus is a thing that just launched a week ago. Not saying you should buy any. I don't own any, but I did a deep dive on it. And when you look at the liquidity, so it's on the Binance Smart Chain, you look at the liquidity, there's $700 of liquidity. 700. I'm not saying 700K, not saying 7 million. There's $700 of liquidity. So when you look at that project, right, the Arvarus project, this morning that I looked at. Video will be out later today. You guys should subscribe and press the bell notification on both of the channels so you get notified when we drop videos. But that has no liquidity. With the DAO, the cult DAO, liquidity is locked. And GRC mentioned right before he came on that there was about $1 million worth of USDC or whatever $1 million worth converted to cult, which is like, like fucking 6 billion tokens or something like that. And that is locked as liquidity in probably Uniswap with
How impactful is that, Sam? For me, give me some feedback on that, because that $1 million in crypto to me seems small. I understand that into a low cap coin with no liquidity, $1 million is not small, but you know what I'm saying. In the BROOTS in his video was talking of upwards of $80 billion in market cap is like his projection for like 5 years or something along those lines. But what is that $1 million in the grand scheme of things to you? If this were to work out, like what would that really mean? Like what foots or feet does that hold?
Well, so let's understand some of the risks of liquidity, right? So we've been talking about here and there Pulse Doge, right? Why are some people super bullish on Pulse Doge? Because it is limited supply that a small number of people can purchase enough of that while keeping liquidity low. We know liquidity low is, what's up, Molly? Having a low liquidity is great from a positive price performance, but also what is bad about low liquidity, right? All you have to do is think back to 2.5 weeks ago. It's a project you may have remembered. It was kind of on Twitter a bunch. It was called Luna. So having low liquidity, freaking awesome for price performance to the positive, but it's just like a double-edged sword, right? You have a double-edged sword. So if you cut this way through an apple, you're like, okay, cool. But then if you bring it back, so you can still cut your face open. And a double-edged sword can cut you in both directions, from price performance to the upside, but also price performance to the downside.
And we see a lot of this, Sam. We see a lot of this in the price. This is the modern day thinking. Like, get your product market fit right. Let me just say it how it is, guys. In my eyes, get the product fit as right as you can. That's what RH did. That's what Colt's kind of doing. Lock the code, Sam. They're locking the code, which we like here. We like that concept here because that means the guys can't go back and do certain things. Which, anyway, so they lock the code, and then I don't know. There's like parallels here between Hex, DeFi, and that's where I'm trying to get at. Like,
with the locked liquidity, right? To tie that back in, right? So you have issues, say Hex, right? Low liquidity, good thing for price performance, right? You have things like Luna. Everybody's trying to run for the door at the same time. And a lot of people get killed on the way out, right? So having a small doorway that is called liquidity is good and bad, right? You talk about this, right? If there's a good thing, then that means there's also a negative side to it. That's what low liquidity is. Low liquidity is. So by taking $1 million, not that that's a tremendous amount of money, but taking that and locking that into the contract that cannot be changed for the liquidity, right? Then you know that that's just going to sit there the whole time, and they're not going to be some big players that just dump on your head and they pull that liquidity out, right? Just before everybody's about to run for the door gets slammed in a lot of people's faces. So like that is a good thing, like putting some type of seed capital in there to fund liquidity, right? To keep that door just a smidge wider than it may have otherwise been if it was just due to the markets.
So I wonder, so we always talk about like the price performance, like Hex is really sticky. When it gets to those low points, people really want to buy it because the value proposition is so high, Sam. You're just talking about yield percentage. Like, it's just really high. So when it gets down to those points, it's just doubling back on itself, right? That T-share rate's getting cheaper. And those people that understand the system, that's pennies on the dollar to them for free money in the future. So they're going to keep doing that, right? We know that. I know that, right? But with something like this, I worry that that double back won't be as strong. But because it's like, where's the heavy value prop? But then there's this all automated system that I'm kind of learning about.
So like, right, you have the T-share rate, which is in Hex that is perpetually programmed to increase over time, the rate at which you're going to get a T-share. So if you let me contrast this to Cult DAO. You have the tax of 0.4%, right? For every trade, there's a tax of 0.4%. So when you think about that in a holistic manner, you have a tax on every single transaction on DEXs. You have a transaction, if I was to send it to you and you were just, right, we were doing a transaction between us, there's a 0.4% tax. Well, that builds up in the treasury. And of that treasury, every time a proposal is put forth and executed.
What are you moving?
I just knocked the mic.
Oh,
2.5 ETH worth of cult is burned. So that's where you have like that mechanism, right? That's going in there and just getting rid of cult. Perpetually, it's just getting rid of cult, getting rid of cult, getting rid of cult. Getting rid of cult. So on the one hand, you have something that's built as a mechanism to just reduce the supply of it very, very quickly. And on the other hand, you have something that's programmed in there to increase the rate at which a T-share costs, right? So you have different dynamics, but similar structure, right? They're both.
But it has to be so sticky. Like, which one's stickier? Like,
what's important to the person? Do you want some trustless yield, or do you want to, right? Maybe you're in that place in your life where you're like, I'm good. I'm happy with where I'm at. Wow. And I want to support crypto. I understand that crypto is the future. And I understand DeFi, reducing centralization and doing dope ass shit that you couldn't do in legacy is taking over crypto. And if that's your ethos, if you're like, hey, bro, I'm good. Like, I got businesses, I've got money coming in. Like, I want to support other things to continue to grow this space, to continue to improve the world, to continue to expand the possibilities with this thing called blockchain. That's what DAO, the DAO stands for. That's what the called DAO stands for, where Hex stands for a different mission. So it depends on the ethos of the person, on what they actually value. Do they really value the trustless yield that comes with Hex? Cool, awesome. Maybe tax is the fucking thing you should get into then, right? If you're like, hey, I'm good, I'm happy, or you're like, trustless yield is awesome, but I really want the space to grow, and that's what they're like. In order,
what do you think about that from your perspective?
I like the mission. We've talked about adoption. We've talked about adoption and, support. How do these small, cool, interesting projects grow? By increased adoption. It doesn't matter what project you're talking about with the tax or Pulse or fucking anything.
We see it all day long. We see it all day long. These guys that are brilliant, making projects that are brilliant, and they don't know how to market shit. So no one finds out about it. And then guys like me and you are like, dude, you ain't got it going on yet. Like, you got to figure out your shit. You got to market. Like, that's part of business. You like business and marketing. I love when the people are like, oh, we're building this business, but we're not like marketing yet. And I'm like, so you're just hanging out at your house, basically, because no one knows what the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean, though? So you're like, I am more from, me, I'm more from the side of marketing rules, everything. Like if you outmarket someone, the technicals will fall behind at the end of the day, if you have enough personality power in this new world that we have, right? It's like, so a couple of the things I'll bring up about the project that maybe I'm a little bit would like more questions on, and we got our guy up here. We'll invite him on in 1 second. I'll actually intro him on just right after this statement. So we're talking, a lot of people, the first thing they're all DMing me about this multi-sig stuff. I need to know more details because I couldn't figure out where to read it. Like I was, a lot of people were saying things to me, but I couldn't figure out where to find the paper. So that's where I'm not going to just start speculating. Like, I mentioned that I had like questions, but I never said anything direct because I didn't really know. And then we have other questions about the autonomous, what's it called when you don't know the founders?
Oh yeah, like the anonymity or like their hidden
right.
nature.
So some people say that's a feature, but some people say that's a bug, right? We always talk about the give and take of that. Are there ways that they can extract money from this system? I mean, that's really what you have to ask yourself. And they know that. Everyone knows that, right? Like, and we're going to learn a little bit about, well, he's going to say whatever he's like, but we're going to ask him some questions about that video I pulled up in the green room right before, where maybe there was an add-on. Maybe we were getting a little further in the process. We'll get into that. KT and I can't remember the exact name, but let's invite him on, guys. We have our boy Artorius. He is a cult founder, guys. Biceps in the chat. What's up, Artorius?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Is that your voice? That's cool, man.
How's it going, brother? How's it going, man? Nice to meet you. So you're behind the cult project?
Yeah, I helped co-found it with alongside Mr. Immodulus.
Hell yeah!
Your audio is kind of hard to hear for me. Hold on one sec.
Turn it up maybe a little bit. So what was it? Can you talk about the reasoning behind why you wanted to create it and why you decided to get on the team to create it? Like, what was the reasoning behind it? Because DAOs traditionally, there's some concerns for some people on how they're structured, and then the way that cult is structured is different, and it seems to be addressed in a way to help reduce those risks or concerns that people have around the structure of DAOs.
So the idea with Cult was to bring around a DAO that was truly autonomous, because there's a lot of DAOs that still require a lot of interaction and a lot of intervention from developers in order to make things happen. So you have these DAOs where they might have a vote using the snapshot website, and then that doesn't actually control any smart contracts. All that is a decision that then relies on a developer who has keys to then make that happen. Whereas with Cult, that's not the case, because the proposals mechanism is completely run by smart contracts. So there's no way that myself or anyone else can stop it from happening, or we can't access anything in the treasury, anything like that. We can't make changes to the staking contract. So if I was to disappear and anyone else involved in Cult was to just disappear, it wouldn't change anything about the project. It would carry on working in the same way it's worked for the last 3, 4, 5 months.
Oh, that's interesting. And when you were designing it, or the team was thinking about the design of it, that was because I'm sure that if you've been in crypto, right, you're like, hey, that's a concern of mine, right? If Sam has admin keys and he's working with developers, like, he can just steal my shit or F something up by accident, and poof, like, everything could go to zero. So the design of it is very unique. There was one thing that I wanted to understand with you and your background in getting into this. What was your thought process getting into this, or like the reasoning behind this, where you're like, this is super interesting, this is why I want to do that? And obviously understand you're using the thing for your voice, so like, we clearly know, you know what I mean, you're not trying to share anything personal, but what was the thinking going on in your mind?
I think a lot of it was being part of other crypto projects and knowing that one of the things that actually, it sounds like a really good thing, but actually kind of plagues the space is traditional venture capitalists. So generally what you find with other projects, when you have an early stage investor, they're great because they help fund a project and put it, start getting things in motion. But generally that comes at a cost, which is a lot of early stage tokens or heavily discounted tokens that later on they just dump that, and it tends to have quite a negative effect on a project, because however, whatever their best intentions, they're there to make money. So they're not going to feel bad about dumping your tokens over the next 12 months, and they don't care what price point you're at when they do it either. So we wanted there to be a way that...
Definitely, for sure. I mean, that is true. Like, at the end of the day, guys, and I say this all the time, I cut right to the chase with the price performance stuff. When you have enough money, you will dump a bunch of it to secure your wealth and move it elsewhere. Like, that's just the way it works, and you can be more or less incentivized to do so. depending on the project.
Exactly. At the end of the day, these VCs, they don't have any loyalty towards a project. Their whole goal is to make money. So you can't even really be mad at them for doing it, because that's just how it works. But what we wanted to do was have a way that we could provide some funding for smaller projects that want to help bring around decentralization, and do it in a way that where they weren't being held over a barrel by multi-million-dollar funds. So we've got this mechanism in place which allows people to choose whether they get that investment. So they have to be worthy of getting it in the first place. And then, what happens is that they then reward the DAO that voted for it by buying back Colt with the profits, and then burning some and giving some to all the people that are staked as well. So it becomes sort of a win-win situation. And also it's a smaller amount of funding than a traditional VC. So whereas a lot of the VCs won't be willing to chuck in the money into such a small stage project that's taking a risk, we can put in 13 ETH via a proposal, and it's, what at the moment our treasury is like 500-600 ETH. So one failed project isn't going to kill the investment. It's just we put our eggs in lots of different baskets, and it means that we're funding a bunch of different projects that are given a chance to try something. And also, at the very least, we get a burn of Colt. At the very least, in the best case scenario, the project makes a ton of money, even more Colt gets burned, and all the stakers get rewards. So it's kind of a system where just being active in the system is benefiting everyone.
Can you talk about that in a little bit more detail? Because I think that a lot of the people watching may not understand how a VC fund works. So to give them context, right? So you're investing in companies, you're getting equity, and then traditionally it's like, I don't give a shit about you. I'm going to dump this because I want a 3x or 5x or 10x or whatever on my money, and I want a liquidity event. So can you talk about that a little bit? How it's different, right? The size is obviously different, but then there's also a structure with 0 to 18 months on how this could be played out, and that piece.
And the macro, Sam, the macro is not looking hot. Let's be 100% on that. Like, and I just want to know from your perspective too on the macro. Like, I don't care what project you are, Colt or any of the Polkadot, Kusama, anything. Like, the macro is rough. So like, and that can break trends, right? And you can lose the faith of your investors just because of those trend breaks, right? Where does this maybe have some sustainability within that?
Yeah, in terms of the way the investment works, so when it's coming back, it's with the proposal, they sort of outline, the project outlines what kind of timeline they expect they could distribute the profits, and also like at what rate as well. So we're not expecting them to just dump all of their profits straight into Colt in one go, because obviously that would kill their chart. So the idea is that they're allowed to, on their own terms, swap their profits back into Colt, so that they're not having the same effect that an investor would have of just selling all those tokens in one go. They're being allowed to manage it in a sustainable way, which not only puts less pressure on their chart, but it provides sort of piecemeal rewards to the Colt stakers, rather than just one huge lump sum and that being the end of it.
Is that in the proposal? I read through your site and the white paper, and when you're talking about it, I had a question. So if I'm like, okay, my project gets 13 ETH, and like, does that mean that I'm like, okay, that 13 ETH worth of Colt that's coming in, that translates to, I don't know, 14 million of my token, right? And is that is that something that's going in a smart contract? Does that go straight back into the treasury? Like, because what you were just saying, it made it sound like it's something that I get to decide on how it goes back to you. Or can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah, so it's very much a system based on trust, almost like a gentleman's agreement. So everything on the proposal on the outgoing side of it is automated. So it's done. The proposal is submitted through a smart contract, and then as people vote, that is all registered in the smart contract. Which then, if it passes, the smart contract automatically distributes the investment. And then what happens from there is once it's in the hands of the project, it's very much their it's on them to handle that how they're going to do. So obviously they're probably going to sell that into their own into ETH or into stable coins or whatever what they have to do to make that usable in their ecosystem. And then so what we have is the guardians that submit the proposals. They have to they kind of have a responsibility to manage it as well. So they act as like a middleman between the cult community and the project that has passed that proposal. So it's on them to keep us updated as to when we can start expecting returns. You know, just finding out how things are going with the other project. But it's very much once it's left the sort of the cult ecosystem, it's on that recipient project to handle it how they see fit. And it's there's arguments that this isn't a perfect system, but the problem is if you lock everything into smart contracts, it severely limits your flexibility in what we could invest in. So we have the freedom that we've made grants and donations. So we've donated to like a mental health project, which they're now using those funds to be able to expand their reach. We've got stuff that's going into like yield farming. So that's earning like a continual yield that can then be paid back as rewards. And we've got investments going into like grassroots projects as well. So the freedom of it being a trust system, once it's left our ecosystem, means that really we're not limited at all in what we can fund, and that's what I like so much about the system. And the other thing with one thing I'll say is that if you had a project that perhaps had ill intentions, or they wanted to take the money and run, you're going to have a whole lot of very angry cult holders and stakers that are going to be extremely vocal about that. And the last thing a new project wants is having 5, 6, 7,000 people on Twitter saying where's our investment gone.
Okay, so that was the next question I wanted to ask you. Okay, so I'm like, hey, cult people, like you should invest into my project. I get somebody to propose it, and then it is voted on in the community to be like, okay, let's fund Sam's project, and then I'm like, okay, well, F these guys, right? So is there like, yes, I understand there's community, right? And then the reputation of myself is like destroyed within that community. Is there any like tracking of this or I know that it said that the distribution plan or something, there's some verbiage to like, there's a word and then a distribution plan or something along those lines in the white paper or on the site. So if I'm like, okay, cool, guys, I will get every quarter, if it translates to say, 15 million of my token, and I'll be like, okay, every quarter I'll give you guys $1 million for whatever it translates out to be per quarter up until 18 months. And that's what I'll do. Is there a way that is being tracked in a visible manner other than, right? Because we talk about, go look on Etherscan or go look at this stuff, but 99.999% of people are never ever going to do that shit. So is there some way where it's like, okay, Sam's project funded today's date, boom, boom, this is the distribution plan that he put together or that worked out through the proposal in Cult? And is Sam actually following through with what he said he was going to do? Just so that it can be in a transparent manner, so then the Cult community knows to be like, wow, Sam is a scumbag and he didn't actually follow through with what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, this is something that that the community is now working on. So it wasn't something that we released when we launched, and that was mostly because we weren't 100% sure how it was going to pan out, where what was going to happen. So now the community who have asked these exact same questions are saying, let's find a way to make this more visible, because it's potentially holding us back, that a lot of these people can't read Etherscan, and as far as they're concerned, once it's gone from the treasury,
Poof.
it could be anywhere. Yeah, so it's something that we're looking at. We're looking at options within the community to get that built, and I believe that's progressing quite well. And once it gets further, the idea is to have that as like a web dashboard on our site, so that you'll be able to look down and see all the proposals that have gone through. You want to see at what stage their investments are, what the projected returns are, what we've actually seen so far, all of that stuff. And I know a few of the guys have been working on just like Excel sheets, just to sort of try and keep the very bare bones in place. But that's something that we most definitely are working towards, because we think that having that visibility will be a bit of a game changer for people that might still be on the fence a little bit.
That would be, I mean, because that was the first thing I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I can game this from the other side and just get them to give me free money that I don't actually have to follow through on my end, right? I'm not saying for me personally, but if I'm a nefarious actor in the ecosystem that is crypto, I'm like, okay, cool. How can I game people to steal their money and not follow through on my side of the bargain, right? And so I'm always thinking about those things to try to understand. So if that / when that is put in place, freaking awesome to have all that transparency up there. What would be for people like me, I'd be like, oh, that is fantastic to have that availability, just like in a VC fund, right? If I'm investing into GRC and you as two of my investments, I'd like to know, hey, GRC, where are we at quarter-wise, right? These are what you said you'd probably be able to accomplish in this quarter. Where are we at this quarter? Are we reaching, did you hit your revenue? Are we getting new monthly active users, etc.? And then for you, I was like, yeah, where are we at in this thing? And I can just show that to the investors that I raised money from. So I think this is freaking awesome. Jeffrey Crypto says, stop stealing from the treasury DAO. Okay, question on this, because another thing that comes up from me, I like to know how people are like making money, right? So how are the founders like? Are you guys making money in it? And I'm not saying you shouldn't make money. I think that people who are providing a tremendous amount of value to the community, to increasing the ethos that is crypto, increasing transparency of things, increasing decentralization, getting rid of some of the really horrible centralized things that we have, or changing the structure of them to better serve the constituents of those centralized things, and just funding like cool shit that is not available. Like I think that those people probably should be rewarded in some way, but I wasn't sure how you guys were being rewarded. And maybe it is just the satisfaction of putting things forwards that are going to drive things that you love in or love in the world. Like that is the baby that you want to see grow and evolve in the world. But can you talk to us about that, please? And on how you guys are making money, if at all, from this, and how that works or whatever.
Yeah, well, we're not salaried. We're not really making money. We own some Cult. We've got all the developers that worked on the project have got some Cult, but it's vesting over 12 months that started from when we launched on the 1st of Feb. So we've got a bag, but we don't take any cut of any part of the DAO or anything like that. So
interesting.
And there's no because I saw this on Twitter, people asking this question, and no, there's no way to access the treasury because the code is closed. Is that an accurate statement?
That's correct. Yeah, we renounced the contracts completely. Same. So we renounced the token, we renounced the staking pool, the treasury, and the proposals mechanism. So yeah, we don't have access to any part of the development anymore.
Do you personally see, like, so my background is in a lot of like the legacy world and some like angel type investors? I mean, they can do very, very well. And if you're in the crypto space for, I feel like, a relatively short period of time, there's an idea that the earlier you can get into something, like the better returns you could potentially get. So how do you see this, right? Do you see this as being like, there's the possibility where the returns, assuming that transparency is put in place so that, the community can kind of like, not necessarily shun and cancel culture type thing, but be aware of, hey, maybe we don't want to support Sam because he didn't follow through on his agreement for the 13 ETH type of thing. But there's a possible world in my mind where, like, the investments, if these are new stage things, if this is like an angel investor fund that is decentralized, there's a possibility where these investments could do really, really, really well and actually propel things forwards in a positive manner, because you have to distribute it up to 0 to 18 months, right? And I'm curious to hear what your personal thoughts are on that.
Absolutely. I think with any investment, you're going to have, you're never going to expect every single one to do amazingly. Like, there's proposals that have gone through where I think, I'm not sure I'm not sure how well that's going to go. And then there's others where I think this could be a big one. So one of the biggest things at the moment we've had is, it's not so much something that comes up now, but a couple of months ago, a lot of people were saying, well, where's our staking rewards? We've had hardly any staking rewards. And that's mainly because those rewards are based on these investments maturing. So as we've only just launched in February, and we only launched our first proposal in late March, because we were scratching around to try and get the funds for a single proposal until we had this massive pump. So there's like a time lag between when we've started our investments and when those investments have matured and we can expect results in terms of profit for stakers. So the way I see it is, at the moment, we're in this time lag between investments being made and the big returns coming back. Once we get like 6, 9, 12 months down the line, all these proposals that are going through now, in that time period later on, those are going to start coming back, and we're going to have all these different projects just coming back in after 12 to 18 months, and we're going to have just waves of rewards coming. And yeah, obviously not all of them are going to be like that. Some of them, there might be nothing. Some of them, they might be small rewards. But even if you have only a handful that just explode and go massive, that could be a game changer in terms of not just profit and rewards for people staking, but also 50% of all the rewards are being used to buy coal and then burn it. So as well as the deflationary aspect of proposals getting passed and burning 2.5 ETH, you could potentially have massive amounts of coal being bought and just instantly burned, which is obviously great for the chart and also cutting that supply down. So what it means is that it should be an almost exponential growth based on the continuation of volume and proposals going through and investments. As long as some of them are coming back successful, then it seems like a win-win situation.
So question on that, because that could be very interesting. And I'm thinking about this as in, say, if there is a repository or a history of proposals that is put forth as the tool on the site somewhere, where you get to see the projects that are coming forth. And I see XYZ project was funded, and their distribution is like, okay, 1/3 of the returns back to the fund are happening at 6 months, 1/3 at 12 months, and 1/3 at 18 months. And I'm paying attention to this thing. It's launched 5 months in, it's had a 10x or 20x or 100x. And I'm like, ooh, that's super interesting. And there's a decent chance that people are not going to be paying attention to that. And I could get into Cult before I know this is going to actually take place, because I see that the distribution is actually happening in a month from today, and get that, like, obviously it's going to be a small portion of it because I'm not getting it directly, but it's kind of like a slight like derivative play on the thing that I didn't get in on, right? The XYZ initial thing. Do you see people doing that kind of thing, or have you guys thought about that type of stuff?
It is something we thought about, but it's just one of those things that's it's such high effort thing to worry and try and combat in terms of the code, that it just didn't make sense, because the way I see it, you should be, regardless of whether you care about the rewards now or in 9 months, if you own Colt, you should probably be staking it, not just from the reward side, and not just even from the governance and voting side, but every token that's going out of general people's wallets and out of Uniswap and getting locked into the staking contract, that what that does is help put more pressure on what's left in general circulation, meaning that it can help to drive the value up over time, because with especially on Ethereum with gas fees, you don't want to be staking and unstaking, constantly. But if you're staking, your onus there is to leave it staked, and that puts more Colt out of direct circulation, so that what's left on in people's wallets and exchanges and Uniswap, etc., there's less of it. So it means if more people are doing that, more people are buying from Uniswap, we're losing a lot of the tokens that are in Uniswap, which then makes it more expensive to buy.
Can you touch? I think especially for, as I'm like, you're mentioning your answer, I'm like, okay, 13 worth of ETH, even if $5,000 ETH is relative to the size of the call, is still not going to be a tremendous, it's going to be impactful, but it's not going to be impactful enough to necessarily go through with what I was talking about. So thank you for highlighting that. In the white paper, it talks about locked liquidity. Can you talk about why that's important, and then what exactly that means?
Yeah, so the liquidity lock basically means that so if you don't lock your liquidity at any point, you could decide, look, there's 1,000 ETH and 200 billion Colt in Uniswap. I could just have that. I could just take that now and run, and you would never know anything. But because we've locked all of that away for 265 years, we'll never be able to do that. No one will ever be able to pull that out and just rug the project. So it's one of those things that's like it's kind of a symbol of trust, because obviously we're not doxed, we're anonymous personas, and that can sow seeds of distrust, and it's a way of helping us combat that by saying, look, I know a lot of projects you think are too good to be true, you buy into them, and then this anonymous person just drains the liquidity. Yeah, and then you'll never see that again. It's gone. You'll never be able to sell that token.
Yeah.
So we've made sure that can't ever happen, because, well, I suppose it can if I manage to live for 265 years. But
Richard Hart was trying to make that happen for you.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
That's fascinating, because I like that, and it is definitely something. I was checking out a different project this morning called Arborist or something, and it's on Binance. And there's like under $1,000 worth of liquidity. I was like, bro, what the F? Like, there's,
You
there's
really
no-
gotta look, like, that's where you get at basically when you start getting more into crypto projects. It's like the first place you look. It's just like before everything, you got to see if people could take their money in and out, because therefore that's what makes it a thing. You know,
I wanted to hear what your favorite project or most interesting project is that has been funded so far. Do you have a favorite? What do you think is like a very interesting one?
Oh, I could get in trouble for this. So one of my favourites, I have been quite vocal about it as well, is it's called Web3 Wallet, and it's basically a 100% decentralized wallet to replace MetaMask. So obviously MetaMask is centralized, as we know. It's been used before. It can be switched off. I can't remember if it was Venezuela or if it was Russia or something. One of these countries just MetaMask basically said, right, we're not gonna serve you anymore. So obviously that doesn't mean you can't get your tokens. It's just a pain in the ass to then load up another wallet, find your seed phrase and stuff. But the idea of this completely decentralized wallet is that can't happen, and also you can earn rewards for using it. And they've got loads of other interesting roadmaps, like creating Web3 front end UIs for smart contracts. So if, for instance, Uniswap's website went down, you wouldn't be able to use it. But then if they've got a Web3, so hosted on IPFS, so it's not, it's hosted on Web3 storage, so it can't just be shut off. Then you could still interact with these other sites, and you don't have to worry about servers getting switched off. And yeah, they've got loads of interesting stuff like that. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how that goes.
I took notes because
that was cool.
Web3 wallet I wrote down. Is that the name? Because this is 100% selfish here, because I was like, oh, this is cool. Well, I would like to check this out. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to ask that question.
The actual projects they're called Sons of Crypto. Sons of Crypto. But yeah, they've got a really interesting roadmap, also like Web3 messaging, so you could send chats from your wallet to other addresses, and decentralized social media. Loads of super interesting stuff. And yeah.
That's super cool. Because I'm waiting for something to come through on the messaging front on Web3 that is decentralized. Because we've all seen what's happened over the last 36 months, and different shit that's happened around the world, or whether that's in Canada or other places around the world, or California, and just doing crazy whack job stuff, to be able to communicate with people in a completely decentralized manner, where nobody can access what is like being able to be said, complete privacy. That would be fascinating. So that's super cool. Is there any other projects where you're like, oh, this other one is super cool?
I'm gonna have to go scroll through back now. There's been so many that I can't remember what all of them are. Let's have a look. There's the one with People DAO. I don't know if you're aware of People DAO. They sort of branched off from a project that was called Constitution DAO, where they sort of it was a bunch of people that grouped together to try and buy the Declaration of Independence, or the whatever it was, the Constitution. From the UK, I can't remember what it's called, but they tried to buy that, and they got beaten by the CEO of Citadel in the end, and then they sort of disbanded. But these guys sort of picked up where they left off, and now they've got an interesting DAO. What else have we got? Scrolling through now.
Thank you. This is interesting.
Yeah, there's the Unminding project, which it's not necessarily investment. It was like they're a very, very small UK based company, that they try and help people with mental health issues, people that either can't get seen by health services due to long waits and stuff, and they're just trying to help people out that have got mental health issues, and that's obviously a big thing. So yeah, I mean there's loads, there's loads, a very varied group of projects we've got that have gone through, but I highly recommend checking a lot of them out.
Yeah, where can people? So where could I find? I'm going to say where can people find them, but more than likely most people watching will never actually look. But I would look. Where could I find that information?
Yeah, so on our website, it's so the website's cultdao.io, but you can, if you go to app.cultdao.io, that takes you straight to the staking and proposals page, and then you can look at proposals there, and you can see the ones that are currently running, the ones that have finished. You can see how much we've sent out already. Loads of stuff like that. So I'd recommend, checking that website out. So we've just looking at the dashboard now. We've funded 728 Ethereum worth of Colt for projects so far in 5 months. Wow. Since February, 728 ETH worth of Colt we've sent, and we've still got 510 in there. Wow.
And it says there's been what is that, 1.7 trillion Colt that has been burnt, it looks like, I think.
That's correct.
Wow. Total value locked.
And the max supply is only 6.6 trillion. So we're at like 25% of our supply has been burned.
Wow.
Wow, 25% in 5 months?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So how long does it take for a proposal from start to finish to go from, hey, I'm in the top 50 people, and then I wanted to ask another question, a follow-up on that. How long does it take for a proposal to get put forth and the funding to be sent?
So from when it's submitted, it's a 5-day voting period, and then once that 5 days is up, it can be executed, and then it sends the funds straight out.
Is there a way, right? So you can't. Thank you for pulling this up, Bullish. Is there a way that could be gamed, right? So from my understanding, right, if somebody's a top holder and they're staked, they can put forth proposals, but they're not allowed to vote on it. So if I was a top holder, I'm just thinking this out loud. I'm a top holder. I put forth a proposal that I want to fund myself. Then I sell that into multiple different wallets, and then I stake those in the system, right? But then again, it's only 13 worth of ETH. I don't know how can you talk to me about that, right? Because there's going to be people who are going to probably try to game this, especially if there's a bull run and ETH goes to $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, $12,000, right? If it's 10 grand, right? And then
the potential that ETH also has an extreme bear market, which is, things can swing both ways. Like that, we've seen ETH do crazy things. We've seen 85, 90% dumps. Does that make any difference as well? Like as far as the fluctuation in the ETH price? I mean, obviously it does a little bit.
Yeah, so if you look at the treasury, so the treasury it's all made up of Colt, but it's valued in ETH because it's sent out in chunks. So that's one of the other beauties of it, is that if the Colt price is going down relative to ETH, when that burn goes through, it's actually burning more Colt tokens per ETH. So obviously, no one likes to see the price go down, but the good thing about Colt is that if the price is going down, it supports itself for the future by taking advantage of that fact, and those burns, we just burn more supply more quickly. So it doesn't work as a hedge against the bear market, because at the end of the day, we're all pegged to Bitcoin, but what it means is that if we burn more tokens while we're at that low price, once we get some sort of a reverse or a pump, it means that there's a lot less tokens in supply to support that movement. So it means that the value can rise quicker than it did previously.
Interesting.
It's just a way to like negate downward spiral. Like, you know, just like I think there's a couple projects that we like that, like we always talk about the T-share rate here, because when the price dumps real bad, it just makes it easier to buy a T-share. So some of the guys that like T-shares, you know, when the price dumps real high, like they get real excited, right? Like me.
Same idea.
And it's same idea. It's just like it just doubles back on itself for the people that understand the system. They're just going to be benefiting more. But again, the understanding, that's where how many people truly understand the system.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to what you said about gaming the system, so one of the good things about the way smart contracts work is they read information at the time that the transaction happens. So if you're a top 50 staker and you submit a proposal, at the time you submit that proposal, that's when it reads everyone's voting power. So anyone that stakes after that's happened, that's not taken into consideration. So you can't submit, then unstake, spread to multiple wallets, stake, and vote.
Oh, dope. Awesome. Okay, so what you're effectively saying is that if I were in the top 50 and I put forth a proposal for my own personal shit, well, as soon as that's submitted, that's like, okay, cool. Where's the system at in terms of all the stakers involved? Let me understand. Okay, so we have GRC, we have yourself, and we have Sam. Sam put it forth. Sam can't vote, but GRC and myself can vote, and that's it. Then, if I were to unstake that, it didn't matter because the snapshot was taken at that moment in time to actually, capture who's involved in the system. I love that. Super, I appreciate that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
One question on the two questions on this. So vesting, right? So you mentioned the team has tokens, coins, right, in cult, and they're vesting. First of all, proportion wise, is it like 50% of the total, 6.6 trillion? I think is what I forget the number exactly. It's 6.666 or something like that, or whatever the case is, a bunch of tokens. Is that a large proportion that is held by the team, or proportion wise, like where is that sitting? And then how is the vesting broken up, please?
So if you can see on Etherscan, it's got the vesting it's 8.4% of the total supply, 8.4%, and that's split up amongst about, I think, off the top of my head, it's 12 or 15 different wallets. I think 12 or 15 different allocations, and so all of it's linear vesting over 12 months. So you can't just withdraw a bunch of that and just dump it. So it's basically every block, so every 15 seconds, a little bit unlocks, and it's not even like it goes straight into your wallet. It's you have to claim it and to take it out of the contract. So
it doesn't always make sense to do that if gas fees are high, or it's 2 a.m. in the morning. It's just accruing to there, and okay, that's it. That's fascinating. So 8.4% of the total supply is split among the team members involved, and the team members of that 8.4% of the total supply. It is linearly vested over on a 15-second basis throughout the next 365 days from the date of launch. Is that accurate way to say it?
That's correct. Yeah.
Dope. Interesting. I love the transparency and the thought behind this, because I read through that cult, because I've seen them on Twitter, some people in the cult community. I was like, oh, interesting. Let me check this out. It seems to be popping or growing enough that it's showing up on my Twitter feed or in comments. And I read through it, and I'm always view things as a little skeptical. But the transparency of you taking the time out of your day to share all the details, like answered a boatload of my questions. This has been fascinating for me personally.
It's been good. No, I'm just taking it in, like I only know what I know. So it's kind of like with stuff like this. And I think more people need to understand Like Sam's looked into this a lot. I've even looked into this a lot, and I'm not there yet. Like I'm not the one that's going to be like, oh, I know exactly what's going on here, guys. 1 second, because it's just not true for anyone. It doesn't make sense. Like, and I'm just here to. I don't have a stake in any game. I tell, yes, I own Hex, and I sacrifice for Pulse Chain and stuff, and all that. And I love that's the projects that I've kind of been learning about. But as I go, you kind of learn about decentralization. You want to know more, right? Like I'm doing a show now. I want to learn more. And all I hear from people is like, this is the answer. And I'm like, why am I studying this for 5 hours and I don't have the answer? But you're telling me the answer. And I have a feeling you didn't look into it at all. And it's like this constant revolting like door of people that think they know because they have money, and then people that don't look into things, and then they have these prior judgments. And it's like this whole bias loop that me and Sam really like to punch through, because we don't really like we come from the pharmacology side of things, where it's like there is no like whose side are you on. It's like this will do this to you over a long period of time at sustained rate. Like it's just way more calculated, and me and Sam are coming at this with the same kind of frame. Like we just want to know what's going on, right? So we can make our own decisions. We don't care. We don't want everyone to invest in everything, but we just want to learn as we go on. And the cool thing about Colt gives me the ability to learn because it is so decentralized. It's kind of, it has those checklists that I like to see, and my DeFi nerds like to see, you know?
And it's got like a lot of the positive things, right? It's not like, hey, well, there's one more thing that is not like taken care of. You know, I still have questions about it. Super dope. I like what they're doing. I like the, ethos of what's going on, but there's still this one thing, and I don't get that feeling at all. I love what's going on with this.
We got Moon King in the house. BROOTS, your boy BROOTS. Glad you're learning the facts. Yes, of course, here at Crypto in the Morning, we only do facts. We don't do anything else, because what else is there really to do other than just like joke around? I mean, we could joke around all day long, but this is the newest, greatest, most amazing technological transformation that I've ever been a part of, certainly. So I'm going to be looking at the facts. I don't care about this person says this and this person says that. You guys know what I like. I like the code. I like decentralization. I like to hear from the founders. I like to talk to the people that really have an open-minded perspective on these things, because that's the hardest thing to find in crypto.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've always
Thank you,
since
Chiro.
we launched it, we do. I mean, if you follow a few people from the cult ecosystem, you'll see that the community do like Twitter Spaces like basically every day. And I try and hop into as many of them as I can. And I've always said, if anyone has a question, I will answer it, and I will answer the question in front of everyone else. So someone the other day came in and said, I've got a bit of a sensitive question, but should I DM you? And I said, no, there's no question about Colt that I wouldn't answer in front of everyone else, because
Respect.
there's nothing to hide. So I think especially coming from someone that does I don't have my real name out there, so I want people to trust me and give it to them straight.
No, I think that we need more people. We need more people like you in crypto, because that is not the case with a lot of the fucking projects out there. So we need more people designing things and being open, so that they're not trying to hide stuff or, be ambiguous about how things are worded or all of that kind of stuff. We need more of this out there. I think.
Revolt is what we were reading about right before?
Yeah. What is? Can we talk about that? If you so the RLVT, I think it is, or something. Can you talk about that a little bit? What that is?
Yeah. So Revolt's the ticker RVLT. Revolt to Earn is the full name. So what it is it's a very similar system to Colt in terms of the way it's built. So it's like the proposal system for Colt, but it's on a smaller scale, designed to cater to individuals. So what you have is if people are trying to push decentralization on an individual level, or they're talking about Colt, or they're going around leafleting or putting Colt stickers everywhere, what they can do is submit that as an act of revolt, and if so 500 people get randomly picked every 15 days out of the stakers of revolt, and those people are the voters. They're known as cult manders. I'm not quite sure where that name came from, but 500 people can vote on these acts. So say I've gone to what's a good example? Say I've gone to like Fifth Avenue and I've put a bunch of cult stickers on the front of every glass window on that around that area, and I say, look, I've done this. I've been spreading the word, and I want this reward for it. So there's a bunch of fixed rewards which go from 0.1 ETH up to like 1.5 ETH. And if the people voting say, yeah, you're spreading the word of cult, I agree with that, I'm going to approve it, then what happens is they get 40% of that reward, then 25% of the reward in revolt is burned, 25% is sent to stakers as a reward, 5% is given to voters as an incentive for voting, and then 5% is sent to a cult wallet, a multi-sig wallet that then buys cult and instantly burns it. So what you get is not only are people getting rewards for doing stuff related to pushing cult and decentralization, but they're also getting rewarded in the way in terms of staking rewards, in terms of burning the supply, but also it's supporting cult by buying cult and burning that too. So it's kind of like a little ecosystem where you have cult is like the daddy, where it's funding proposals, and then you've got the little brother or whatever, the son, which is revolt, which is on an individual scale.
Wow, that's fascinating. I love that. Okay, so you had mentioned, getting out into the community and actually talking to people or stickers or something along those lines, right? But there's also, how Web3, a lot of it is what we're doing right here, kind of thing, in terms of the internet. And so, how are people getting like? Are they getting proposed by the community as in like, hey, GRC, I saw him going out and doing this thing, or is GRC like, hey guys, I'm doing this, and then putting it into the system?
So it's because it hasn't launched yet, it's kind of open to interpretation, because it's quite an open system like Cult, that you sort of, in terms of the smart contract side of it, it's very simple. It's like, all it is a smart contract saying, someone says, I want this reward, send it to this address, vote for it, yes or no. Whereas actually the bit around that is you justifying it and providing evidence and stuff like that. So the example I gave in the community yesterday was, if someone says, I want to print 1,000 stickers and a bunch of posters, and I'm going to post them everywhere, but I don't have the money to be able to buy it. Will you approve this? And you have my word, and I'll do it. And they could approve that, and it would happen. And then you could also have the situation where you say, right, I've just bought 1,000 stickers and I've just bought 100 banners. Can I be reimbursed for the cost of this? And then people can approve that or disapprove it. So it's again a very flexible system, but the whole idea is that not only do the tokenomics support Cult in terms of burning it and also people earning on revolt, but the idea is that it's actually incentivizing people to get out there and talk about Cult more, talk about decentralization more, and pushing it. So what the idea is, it becomes this circle where you've got people talking about Cult, getting rewards, then Cult's getting more exposure, going up, and then it's continuing round and round. So everyone's making money.
That I like that. Is there? I've been hearing about the revolt, but I didn't know if there was a white paper or light paper type of thing available to like read through the semantic details of that. Is there something available that I could read through? Because I want to deep dive into that, because that sounds also fascinating and a great, thing to add on to, ecosystem of cult to help perpetuate the mission of decentralized, reducing or restructuring centralization to make it better, and just cool ass shit that you can do with crypto that you can't do in legacy. Is there a white paper or something along those lines where I can get like a lot more of the details of that?
There is. It literally dropped yesterday. So Mr. O, who was like the main founder, he wrote it. I'm going to drop it in the studio link so that you can share it.
Yeah, if you put it in the private chat, I will actually.
Yeah, we might go into that like soon.
I will. I'm going to do I'll probably do a deep dive on it tomorrow on my channel, because I think that's
awesome. I mean it's 29 pages long, so get your speed reading glasses on. But it's
we like 29 pages, better than 600, like the U.S. government.
But it's like
the U.S. government gives me 600, and I ain't reading that.
But yeah, it's like it's kind of like the Cult Manifesto, but on turbo.
It's a fun read nonetheless, right? I tell you what, the Cult DAO white paper is a bit of a fun read.
It's very the way I'll describe it is stark and heavy. It
was odd. It was odd. It was like me and Sam pulled it up. I was ready for like a picture of a monkey or something. I'm like, what are we getting into over here?
But that's where I think that's super. Yeah, I'm reading through it, and I was telling GSC about it, and I'm like, whoever the author and or authors are behind this have like clearly been paying attention to the heartbeat of the world, or more specifically, like the heartbeat in America of the issues that are taking place over the previous history, like a lot of over the last 36 months, but just in general of like some trends and some things that we don't like that are happening, right? I'm like Big Pharma's mentioned, right? What's happening with censorship are the two things that come to mind. And I think there was one or two other things in there, and just how there's like almost some desperation or a feeling for a large portion of the population of like mental health, like because they don't see a way out. And it's like you can just work more hours for a lot of people, but they don't understand how to get out of like this system or this life that they're living, and they're not finding it. Yeah. And I was like, whoever wrote this or authors behind this, I was like, clearly they're paying attention to what's happening on that. So I think that's fascinating.
It connected with the intellectuals for sure, like the people that don't care as much about money. I mean, we care about wealth. Like I care about wealth, but I ain't really care about money that much. To be honest, I'm just like a protect myself kind of guy. Like I want to protect myself in my businesses, but I don't really care about like buying random ass shit. Maybe at some point in my life I will, but at this point in my life, it's just not my priority. But this is a great time to wrap up. I mean, thank you so much for coming on here. This has been absolutely insightful, incredible. This is how we do business around here, guys. I'm not playing all this like I hate these people because they're doing some stuff over here. It's like it's not really like that to me. It's like this is the future, and if you got to start thinking a little bigger, and not just Colt, but in general, like you got to think bigger when you're looking at these technologies, when you're looking at the adoption curve. You have to think in a way that you can't. It's so open-ended. You can't extrapolate it. You have to expect bigger than you can imagine, and those are the people that are successful, right? The people that. Like one of the reasons Ethereum is trouble is because maybe they didn't realize the load would be so heavy at this point, right? Maybe someone now, so you learn and you go and we push forward and we come out with these new technologies, and the ones that are decentralized and autonomous and immutable are very interesting for a lot of different reasons. So thank you so much, guys.
Do you have any, I want to ask if do you have any closing thoughts or anything you'd like to share, or if people want to touch base with you, how do they do that?
Well, the one thing I will say is, don't be put off by the name cult. We have a cult-like community in that they're very vocal and they care. But one thing I'll say is, we don't want to steal investors from other communities. We're not trying to FUD anyone's bags. We don't want people to sell off their other tokens to come and join our community. We just want to reach out and we want to, you know, join up with other communities and just share the space. And the only way that we can really make a dent in the mainstream is if we actually all just work together rather than trying to focus on this token versus token animosity. I just think there's no time for that, and we won't get any closer to our goals if we start messing around with silly token rivalries.
There's a lot of like
stupid
tribalism and just silliness, in my opinion. And I think that working together or collaborating is a far better way of achieving greater impact in the world.
The amount of money is going to be large. It's going to be like almost endless. You know how the governments do. They like to over.
It's all coming into crypto. It's all going to be here.
You can find decentralized, immutable currencies that double back on each other like this and have those pros and, you know, those push and pull systems that keep people buying when it goes down. It's like Bitcoin did pretty well, and all people do is dump it. Like, so, you know, so guys, like Bitcoin did really, really well.
Bitcoin did really, really well. And this is just,
and it's like, it literally is buy it, sell it, dump it. Who has a lot, dump it more, tell everyone to buy it, dump it more. Like, and it still works out because it's on the blockchain and it's, you know, it's decentralized money, I guess. Guys, this has been absolutely incredible and insightful. This is Crypto in the Morning every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're coming at you. We're picking the best topics of the day. You know, we kind of go with the flow, try to figure out what people are popping with on that day and roll with it. And Colt has been nothing but a hot topic lately in the crypto space, especially while everything's bare. It's like a great time to learn about things, in my opinion, because why not? You know, all our bags are going to shit anyway. So, guys, it's been absolutely incredible. We do the outro song, guys, here. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, brother.
I'll see you in the Twitter spaces, hopefully, and I can ask you some more questions. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stay. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Gym ready to send me to show you the way.